Two guys of Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Time for some Monday statements and questions. Executive order. Because I have a question for you guys. Declan had a question that he had to shoehorn into a statement last week.
Yeah.
So we're going to open this up for Monday statements and questions here on Mackey and Judd, Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. Presented in part today by Pep's Legit Pizza.
Oh, God. Look at that.
Here's a question. Are you legit? Not if you're not eating this pizza. Yeah, when you cut it in squares like you see on the YouTube channel, it is delectable. So if you're craving pizza that tastes like it was made at your favorite pizzeria when you were a kid, Pep's Legit Pizza, it's kind of throwback style. That crunchy crust, robust sauce, melty cheese, stone-baked cracker-thin crust, zesty tomato sauce, exceptional ingredients. Man, the three that I picked up about a month ago, right before the holidays, did not last very long. I think two of them went down the same night in the Mackey household.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yep.
Double pizza night.
Dude,
Love to hear that.
Yep. Just saddle up. Find legit pizzas at a store near you and have an authentic at-home pizza parlor experience. All right, who's first out of the gate here? Who wants to fire off?
I'll be happy to.
Okay.
I'll be happy to. And I will start out with a statement. This is not a question. This is a statement. Just a statement right now. And I'm talking to you, Fox Network executives. Do the right thing. And at the very least, put Greg Olsen in the Super Bowl booth with Kevin Burkhardt, who, by the way, is outstanding. This is no discredit to him. And Tom Brady, who I thought, he's been exposed throughout the regular season, but it's playoff time, which not only means it's playoff time for the guys on the field, it's playoff time for guys in the booth. And I thought Brady, his work on the Eagles and Packers game was just painful. He might be an analyst, okay, but he's probably at best like a 3 or 4. He's not a number one. It's very clear, and I believe because there are rules against him, like not being able to go to the night before production meeting. It's very clear he's not able to or doesn't want to do the requisite homework on teams.
Yeah.
He blurts out cliches. He gets confused about who played for whom. At one point, unfortunately, he called the Eagles the Phillies. And meanwhile, Greg Olsen's at home tweeting game theory. Really, really highbrow, really good stuff about here's why you want to go for 2 here. You might not think that that's the right move, but here's why it is. Literal game theory. And Greg Olsen is a guy who has invested his post-football career into this job. And for Brady, it's just another job. Yeah. Do the right thing. And then next year, you got to either move Brady into studio full-time or just allow him to go run the Raiders. This is really bad, and it's such a huge drop-off.
Well, what do you think? So this last week, what do you think took up more of Tom's time? And I'm not even blaming him for this.
Yeah.
The Raiders searching for a new head coach. Well, back it up. The Raiders first deciding whether they should fire or keep the general manager and the head coach of the team that he co-owns now. And then starting the search for the 2 most important positions in your organization, or prepping the details for Packers-Eagles wildcard weekend.
Yeah.
What do you think he probably spent more time on this week?
Well, and if he wanted to spend more time, and I don't think on the game that he was going to broadcast, he really can't, because the league's you can't go to this, you can't do that. And yes, exactly right. They decided to fire Telesco, their GM, 4 days after they fired Antonio Pierce, their coach. So clearly that's been in the works. It sounds like Brady has basically been told, you run this thing, as far as the searches go. So absolutely. It's a wild conflict of interest, but it's also a guy, what did he add yesterday? What did he add in that whole time? He said 2 things. I thought, oh, that's intriguing, in a whole telecast.
Yeah, I generally think people frame him to be worse than he is at it, because I don't despise him or get as worked up maybe as other people. But the one thing that's really glaring is when it's Tony Romo, and people get annoyed by him sometimes, or Collinsworth, especially Aikman, there's a cadence to it where the play-by-play guy will tell you what's happening and maybe set you up for some things. But there's a lot of moments of silence where, okay, the offense has broken the huddle and is walking up to the line of scrimmage. And there's like 15 to 20 seconds of silence. That's where Aikman, Collinsworth, whoever, Mark Sanchez is great at it. They jump in, they give you something that they see, a tendency that they've observed, whatever. It's like Brady doesn't talk. For half the game, I'm sitting there thinking, Tom, is your mic on, dude? You're the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Not because of your physical gifts, because you saw things that other people couldn't see through intuition and studying. So even without having access to like the interviews with the coaches and players that you get as broadcasters because he's an owner, there's got to be things that he could just see through the flow of a game that he could casually tell you about. But it almost feels like he's so paralyzed. You can tell he's really thinking about what he looks like, what he's saying, like just everything. It's not free flowing. Yeah.
He's just not good at this job. It's okay.
Okay. I think the Bears should hire Mike McCarthy. And I think if you're a Vikings fan, you should be a little worried if the Bears hire Mike McCarthy. And yeah, Mike McCarthy, we've probably fired him like 3 different times on this where Dex fires someone's ass. He looks like a buffoon. He's had some clock management things. But that dude, he knows offense. He is a professional adult NFL head football coach. He's built cultures. He wins double-digit games way more often than he doesn't in his career with Green Bay and with Dallas. And on that long list of like 15 candidates, the one that stands out to me that says, oh, that guy could, like, of the realistic candidates, the guy that could actually get Caleb Williams to play on schedule and maximize his strengths and handle the big market and everything, Mike McCarthy. They put in an interview request. Dallas denied it, but Mike McCarthy becomes a free agent here this week. So Vikings fans, I would keep an eye on that. I think the Bears become a lot more competitive and relevant if McCarthy is their coach than taking another flyer on one of the bajillion coordinators that's... Now, Ben Johnson may be a different story, but he's never been a head coach before. Mike McCarthy has won 10, 11, 12 games on a regular basis and a Super Bowl. So I'd keep an eye on that if I were a Vikings fan right now.
It's interesting, too, because it's very weird that Jerry Jones didn't allow him to talk to the Bears last week when he can talk to him this week. Like, the whole thing is weird. But if I'm McCarthy, I ain't staying in Dallas. It might partially be your fault in some ways, but you're now stuck with Dak.
$60 million Dak.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. His contract makes it, and good luck, like, we'll rework that and kick some cap space into 2047.
And by the way, every single week, whenever something happens, my owner is doing 5 press conferences and radio shows talking about it. Yeah. And my star pass rusher is on his podcast for 3 hours talking. It's like, dude, does anyone just shut up and let people work around here? Not in Dallas. Yeah.
And plus, Big Mac back in the north, in Parkas, Soldier Field. Big man just looks like he belongs.
Icicles coming out of his nostrils.
Exactly right. He goes coughlin with the cheeks, get all burned. Doesn't care.
Oh, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, Tom Coughlin, man. He's the greatest red cheeks I've ever seen.
He's still frostbitten. 17 years later.
All right, so I understand the volatility of the Vikings playoff game, of things can change very quickly in this space and in this room in the next 12 to 24 hours, but my statement is the Vikings have the right coach. They have the right. Kevin O'Connell is by far the right coach for this team. No matter what happens with tonight's outcome, this guy is still the right coach for this squad. He got 14 wins out of Sam Darnold, and there's a great piece right now on ESPN.com from Kevin Seifert that basically details his entire approach, his failures as a player, and what that has translated into him as a head coach. You have players on the Vikings basically saying how his approach is different than your rah-rah, yell-at-you type of football coach. There's a great excerpt at the beginning about how he handled the Aaron Jones fumbling problem, which happened, obviously, a lot this season. and it's a thing that obviously as a player you dread. And KOC goes over to them and just has a nice, calm conversation of, what do you think happened on that play? Not in a condescending way, just in a way of, how do we fix this going forward without just screaming at someone to fix something that is a little bit random. I think Jonathan Grenard, Shaq Griffin, sorry, because Shaq Griffin played in Seattle, correct? Shaq compared Kevin O'Connell to Pete Carroll, which is obviously those are very unique coaching personalities and styles. So regardless of what happens, they have the right coach here. Like, this is a amazing human being, I really think. I know he's joined our show. He's a friend of the show here on Score North, but they have the right coach. No matter what happens tonight, they have it.
I agree. They could get beat 41-0 tonight, and
Boys,
I would still think that they've got the right coach.
Sound the breaking news sounder, because as Declan was talking,
No way.
I just got an alert. Mike McCarthy is departing from the Dallas Cowboys. It sounds like they've decided to sever ties, which really makes no sense about the Bears thing now, but whatever.
I think it does in that if Dallas had a couple other irons in the fire privately that weren't the obvious Ben Johnsons, that they wanted another week to figure those out, that they were not out on McCarthy, but if they, like, Sarkisian has been a rumor.
Yeah.
Is Mike Tomlin a trade in the works, and they needed to see what happened with Pittsburgh over the weekend? So, again, I agree. Like, the fact that you let any coach get to this point in the lame duck process is malpractice, and the Cowboys are a disaster.
Yes.
But once it got to this point, they might have just said, hey, let's at least give ourselves another week just in case option A blows up, and then we can go back and offer the bag to Mike. But interesting. Yeah, Tom Pelissero has it. A bunch of reporters have this. The sides couldn't agree on length of contract. Jerry Jones is like, how about like a 2-month contract?
I was going to say, Jerry's got to win now. That's the worst thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you're Mike McCarthy, you're like, okay, so Dak is fine, but he's not Josh Allen or Lamar or Mahomes, and he's making more than all those guys, $60 million. How are we getting this roster back? Where's my running back? My offensive line is not what it was when I took the job, right? The run defense, all that stuff. Super interesting. His contract was set to expire tomorrow, so he's a free agent. How does that... Question for you guys. I mean, the Bears have shown interest, but do any other spots make sense? The Patriots hired Vrabel, so they got their guy. So it's Raiders, Jaguars, although they just tried the Doug Peterson thing, like Jets. Quarterback whisper guy. Jets. Dude, would he go back and partner with Aaron Rodgers for one last ride? One last year on Aaron Rodgers' contract.
God help us.
Devontae Adams.
God help us.
Get the band fully back together. He can deal with the personality.
Enigma Part 12.
Here's an idea. I wonder if the Lions lose Ben Johnson to the head coach, does he go be an OC in Detroit? McCarthy.
I think he's going to get a head job. If he gets frozen out, then he'd
sit out again. I don't know he would
think so.
Do that at his age. I mean, it might make sense, but I don't know.
He doesn't need to take a coordinator job unless he because it's not like his stock fell. Like Doug Peterson's stock is like, you're probably not getting a head coaching job. Right. McCarthy, for half the year, they had Dak out, right? And they still, was it 8 wins? Like, he still did a pretty good job down the stretch.
Yeah. I will say, I think Jacksonville's sneakier than we think. Like, I think that there is some feeling that if you got the right guy still with Trevor down there at quarterback, that you could win there pretty easily.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not now, but I think that's the feeling.
So who coaches the Cowboys now?
Zimmer.
Oh, my God. I would not touch that. I mean, that's... Yeah. Well, if you're Ben Johnson, you ain't taking that job, right?
It's so tough.
The owner's nuts.
So tough.
The quarterback's locked in. Like, I wouldn't want that to be my first job. And I don't know that it's nearly as attractive as the general public thinks. Oh, it's the Cowboys.
See, I think Jerry loves having coaches that he can kind of put a thumb on. I mean, Bill Parcells was like, since Jimmy Johnson, and Bill Parcells is the exception to this, but the Jason Garretts and the Wade Phillips, just a little
Barry
bit
Switzer.
more understated. Barry Switzer, coming in from
The
college.
Jimmy Johnson thing was why Jerry turned out like he did. He hated the fact that Jimmy got all the credit, which, by the way, Jimmy deserved all the credit. That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah. Crazy. So the NFL coaching carousel, round and round. Back to Judd.
All right, I'll give you another statement. Every NFL game, this is a $1 billion league, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, needs every possible camera angle that we saw in the playoffs, okay? Not this, well, we can't do a boundary camera here because we don't do one there. Not this, well, it's a Fox regional game, so we have 5 cameras. The Ty Johnson touchdown catch, which really swayed the Bills' win against the Broncos on Sunday, they had about 4 angles, and about 2 of them were perfect. It was a touchdown. They got it right. Well, that's great. They should get it right in every game, all the time. It's a $1 billion league. It should be a standard to have the exact amount of cameras for every game, like the Super Bowl, different. But I'm saying regular season or playoff, there is no reason why we can't get every call. If we're going to go to replay, there's no reason why we can't get every call correct. And quite frankly, the viewers at home deserve the same thing. So I think every game, I'm sick of, well, it was a noon kickoff and we only had 6 cameras for that game and we have 64 in this game. It's a bunch of crap. Give me the same amount of cameras on every game. I want to get this right. And I also want to see every possible angle that I can.
I know all press boxes also aren't created equal. Obviously, us 3 have spent a good amount of time in a lot of different press boxes. But even the Burkhardt, Brady, Pereira, like Pereira's like off on the corner and like you can see half his body. Like, I'm sorry, who's the director here? Let's either get Mike in the shot or he's not involved. It'd be like if I was broadcasting from here the entire time and you can only see half of my face.
Why was he not just, when they did that stand-up, was that a bit? What was he looking at? Was he studying one of the plays?
He's at his own table there.
Yeah, but why not? If hey, we're gonna go to the studio shot for a minute. Why don't you just bring Mike in?
Because he's kind of. I don't know. Well, plus there were 2 or 3 times in that game where there were questionable calls, and they didn't bring Mike into the telecast.
Well, I feel like that's Tom Brady's job to think of that, right? Let's go to. It's another thing that he's too caught up in the Raiders. Okay. Question for you guys. If you are starting an NFL franchise right now and you get all of the current quarterback coach combinations to choose from, where would Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn rank right now? They won their first playoff game last night, Washington, since 2005. Joe Gibbs, second time around, was the head coach. Greg Williams, before Bountygate, was their defensive coordinator.
Yep.
And Mark Brunell, in his mid-30s, was their. It was the most random playoff. Clinton Portis was their running back. Random. Santana Moss, I think, was on that team.
The late Sean Taylor, the late safety, was I think a rookie on that team.
Mm-hmm. Super random. But you've got Jaden Daniels is ridiculous, dude. They're 90% conversion rate on 4th down. And they missed on a couple of them early in the game, but the way he keeps plays alive, throws down the field. And then Dan Quinn, people kind of he got fired in Atlanta. 2 different defensive coordinator stops, Seattle and Dallas. He's built monster defenses. And he had a 28-3 lead in the second half of a Super Bowl against a dynasty Patriots team. I get it. He blew it. They blew the game, all those things. But you could do a hell of a lot worse than Dan Quinn as a culture building. So I'm saying Jaden Daniels, Dan Quinn. Where do you put them, coach quarterback combos, starting a franchise?
Sounds like a fun episode, to be honest, like a Purple Daily. That might be a good off-season episode.
KOC with anyone at quarterback would be on the list.
I mean, what's amazing with Dan Quinn is his process of going for it works out. Yes, they failed twice, but they also converted on 2 that led to touchdowns.
Yep.
And I don't know. I would love some more in-depth reasons as to why. But if Dan Quinn is a defensive guy, but is also okay with being go-for-it guy on offense on 4th down, I would love to know the process. Because, Mike Zimmer's not going to be that type of... he wasn't that type of guy. We saw it for 8 years. He wasn't the go-for-it type of dude. And
he
even
trusts Cliff Kingsbury and company. All right.
Yeah. Even KOC is very kind of reluctant to be all in on 4-down territory situations. Yep. So I would love to know more of the process, but I think, like, to answer your question, I mean, somewhere in the top half of the league, probably in the top 10.
Oh, and Jaden Daniels just looks special.
He's awesome.
Now,
I
he
think
could
it's
drop
like
off
fringe
a bit.
top
He looks
5.
special.
I mean,
He looks
Reed and
really
Mahomes, McDermott, Allen, Harbaugh, Lamar, even with Lamar with their playoff failures.
McVay, Stafford.
But starting a franchise, Stafford's in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
I would probably lean toward Jaden Daniels. The Jim Harbaugh Herbert probably went down a half a notch or two after this weekend.
If you redrafted the top 3 picks now of the 2024 draft, Daniels is 1. Is Drake May 2 now? And Caleb 3?
Well, what do you do with Bo Nix?
Well, that's a good point too. Where's Bo Nix?
Bo Nix is much higher stock than a lot of people thought. I mean, our guy Thor was hard on him. Could talk about that on Thursday this week.
I mean, he's damn impressive. That's true.
Yeah. And Sean Payton does a hell of a job. I know Vikings fans hate him, but like that dude he'll be a Hall of Fame coach someday.
Yeah.
My next statement. So from my Halo night, which I know Judd is just itching to hear all about, from over on Saturday, it was
Judd
10
loves
guys,
video game nights.
I love
10 guys,
Yep.
10 of us,
10
10 of us, 3 TVs. Well, actually, like 5 TVs because we had the extra on to watch the playoff games.
Nice.
So 3 TVs for Halo, 3 Xboxes. It was 4v4, so we were rotating a few guys in and out because we had an extra surplus there. But it was an absolute blast. But my statement is, this happened again. So I was up till like 4 a.m. on Saturday. Now,
wait, like Friday night into Saturday or Saturday
night
into Sunday?
into Sunday. Saturday night into Sunday.
4 a.m. Wow, that's an aggressive video game
Now, I used to be a big-time night owl, and I still lean that. Like, even Friday night, I was probably up till like 1 a.m. drinking cocktails and listening to 2000s music videos, which is like my new favorite Friday night tradition when I'm just hanging out. But my statement is I can no longer stay up till 4 a.m. This used to be part of my DNA. I can't do it. I have now officially hit that 30+ wall where, like, yesterday I napped from like 11 to 2. 4 a.m.
I can no longer do drugs till 5, you guys.
Yes. I know.
Now I stopped doing drugs at 2.
Who the hell stays up till 4 a.m. anyways? Like, that's wild, dude.
We probably played until 2:15. And then we realized, oh my God, it's 2:50. And by like the time passed. Like it was
Here,
like it was,
I'll give you my statement of your statement. I, about to turn 40 in the spring, I can no longer stay awake past 10:20. Like 4 a.m. I mean, they say nothing good happens after midnight. What the hell happens after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock?
I like to be in bed by like 11, and then I might scroll, right? But yeah, I mean, 4 a.m. In my heyday, 4 was pushing the my next day is ruined.
No.
But Declan, you say it like,
oh my God,
everybody has the realization at some point in life that they can't stay up till 4 a.m. How many people ever stay up till 4 a.m. on a regular basis?
I'm just saying it was part of my. I would regularly stay up till like 3 in the morning for the majority of my life. I would. I was a night owl. Now I'm saying I have grown up shockingly at 32
goes
to the
beyond
point
night owl,
where
dude.
I can't do it.
That goes beyond night owl. 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Hey, there was a time when I was in college in like early 20s, and online poker was still very much open in the United States.
Stay up all night.
And the best time to play online is when other people would come home like drunk from the bars and log in, and you could go on there stone cold sober and like do really well. And so the best time was from 10 till 3. But I remember waking up one time thinking like there's no way, how could anyone ever get up before like 9:30 a.m.? How do you even like exist at 7 in the morning?
Yep.
And then life continues and
then Phil sends us texts at 5:40 of things he has seen in the morning or his first email.
Oh yeah, dude,
You're up early. I know you're up early.
I mean, we're doing O-line committee at like 5:30 once or twice a week. So it's a blast. And then living on the West Coast for a couple years when like our work is Central Time. There's like sometimes I'd have to hop on like Zoom calls at 6:15 in the morning. So anyways, wow. All right. Well, congratulations to Declan. He's no longer going to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's remarkable.
Can't do it.
I mean, no, I could never like when I was in my prime, 4, I couldn't do.
Oh.
I have to get to sleep.
It's wild, man. It'll throw off your clock. Okay. I have a question for you guys. It's a Larry David moment that happened to me. I texted you guys that I experienced a Larry David moment on Saturday. So my wife, we went to Ridgedale Shopping Mall, had to we had a gift card, and we had to run a couple errands. And I'll tell you what, malls are making a comeback. Rosedale just remodeled. Ridgedale, always very nice.
No question.
People like to go congregate. You know, you go into Nordstrom now, and it's like they got 2 different restaurants in there.
The old food courts are gone.
Yeah, it's because Nordstrom has great tacos now.
Nordstrom's great.
Absolutely.
Just go belly up at Nordstrom, grab a glass, and
just hammered. Stay up
watch
till
a
4.
game. Stay up till 4.
I'm not leaving.
Crazy.
Because I stay up till 4.
I just watched Wolf. Well, I'm not leaving. That was what I did at 4 a.m.
Pour me another.
So my question is it okay to use the child-changing solo bathroom?
Oh, isn't this an episode of Curb? Didn't he actually do this? Or he used the handicap stall. He uses the handicap stall, and the handicap guy does try to bust his ass for trying to do that.
So here's what happened. So we're bouncing around, and I kind of had to pee before we went to get lunch at whatever the Nordstrom restaurant is, just like a halftime situation. So you know what? I'll sit down, we'll put in our order, and then I'll go, because you got to go it's a whole thing in a mall, right? You got to go find a bathroom.
Yeah.
So let's get our seat first, and I'll go.
Yep.
And we're talking, and the food comes, and I can hold it till after. But by the time we got done, and I've been holding it now for like 45 minutes, which is on me. That's on me. I gotta go. And there's a big sign off to the side in Nordstrom that says restrooms, plural,
nice
restrooms, right?
Yeah, they got nice restrooms.
So you walk over there, and my wife goes in there's women's, and I'm looking around like, oh, what? It's women's, and then it's child changing restroom. And then there's a sign that says men's restroom is on the first floor.
64 miles away.
Yeah, so I got to go back.
In Wapaton,
I have
South Dakota.
2 choices, and I have to pee like a racehorse.
Yeah, no.
So I either have to walk back in, go into the middle of Nordstrom, go down the escalator, and then go find the men's room. And I'm kind of panicking even thinking about that.
Yep.
Or
non-starter.
What are the chances? I'll pop into the child changing solo. What are the chances that anyone will even need it in the next 90 seconds, right?
This is incredible.
Right?
Oh my God.
So as I'm going, I hear a jarring on the handle of the door.
Yep.
Like 30 seconds. Like there's no one around. All of a sudden now I just want 90 seconds of peace here. And there's a jarring on the handle. I'm like, oh man. So I get done, I wash my hands, I walk out. And there's a mom with a double wide stroller and 2 little kids and what looked to be like her mom. So it was like grandma, mom, and 2 little kids looking at me like I had just committed a felony. They gave me a look of shame that I've never felt inside of a mall in my life.
Boy. Oh, boy.
Was it out of bounds for me to use the child changing station?
No.
I don't think so.
You were fine.
But this is incredible. I'm kind of...
If you had...
I don't envy you, but I'm glad this kind of happened to you because I just...
Well,
the story is so good.
First of all, when you come out and see the looks of disdain, the looks of disgust, right? You got to come up with a quippy line.
Yeah.
Gotta go, you gotta go. I had to go. The other thing is, I would say you were out of line if you had to do number two.
Oh.
Because then you're going to tie it up for quite some time. But
and then what's my line
you beat the
when
play
I'm
clock.
walking out then?
But
you guys want to give it 5 minutes?
Changing station. You should see what I did. But it's my humble opinion that you beat the shot clock, the play clock. Like, you just went into pee. And the fact that you were asked to go to another part of the store, to me, that's on them.
Yeah, what are we doing here? You can't, just put 2 bathrooms.
Great
right
situation.
Next to each other.
Hilariously funny. But at the end of the day, I'm going to side with you on this.
Well, so my wife is a Nordstrom stan. Just loves Nordstrom.
Let's go.
And I am aware of, at least the MOA one, like, yeah, they have a luxurious bathroom setup. They even have
great.
like a place for nursing moms and stuff. So like they have their own setup for that, which is obviously like rare to find in a big popular place like that. So I think Nordstrom's thought process at the Ridgedale one was kind of a similar thing. We want to make this designated. There's a women's room, and then there's a changing room, which the man can go into the changing room and change a baby. But yeah, I'm trying to decide if that's a design flaw. Then does that discourage dudes, and maybe it's on purpose so they don't use those bathrooms or use the changing station?
Yeah, no, they
do
it
that
was
business.
not like, my sense was that I was not welcome in that solo baby changing bathroom.
But you were close to a place like a bar or a restaurant type of thing?
The restaurant bar is inside Nordstrom.
Right.
There is no bathroom inside that. Like you're
That's what I'm
basically-
saying.
You're
But how
basically like
close-
inside Nordstrom when
That's
you're
the
in
closest
that bar
bathroom,
restaurant.
though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So there
There was no
There you
men's
go.
room on that level.
The last
at
time I
Nordstrom.
checked, men also enjoy a beverage, so they're tempting fate.
That's right. Sorry if I dribbled on the seat a little bit there.
Yep.
Enjoy your
It's
afternoon.
a changing station. As long as you didn't do it on the changing station, you're fine.
Also
Do
true.
what? Do
Also
what?
true.
Pull it
what-
down,
what-
you pee
what-
on it, you'd be in trouble. I wouldn't approve of that.
How
But
would
you
that? I'm
didn't.
trying to think logistically. What
You
would
no?
I-
Have you? I have never pulled one down.
a changing station.
A changing station.
No, nor should you.
I'd
You're
hope
an
so.
I have
you're
never
a
pulled one down.
54-year-old adult with no kids.
Exactly right. But what I'm saying is, I don't even know
Who's
how
the
it would
guy
work.
who's the guy in the gym shorts who just pulled down
Yep.
the changing station?
Yep. You're like, hey, well, I'm just be curious now. You're like, hey, how does this
You're
thing
like,
work?
sorry, it's 4 a.m. and I'm delirious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What you
don't
have
know.
to do now, though, if you plan to use a changing station bathroom, is you need to like have your wife or yourself pack like a thing that looks like a makeshift child, like a little infant wrapped around. So now you're walking in. That's what Larry would do. Larry would buy something like yeah, exactly.
I think they need to
Exactly.
install a men's bathroom if they're going to have a restaurant that close. If that's going to be the only outlet,
Yeah, I just had a 9-ounce pour of red wine. Okay,
Exactly.
I have to go to the
I am
bathroom now.
I am absolutely messed up
Nordstrom.
at Nordstrom. When does the music start? When does the dance floor open? Because I ain't leaving here all night.
We should all. You guys want to go hang out at Nordstrom sometime?
I love
it's
Nordstrom.
It's a great time.
The MOA
Ridgedale's
one,
not far from me.
The-
I can't go to the but I'm right by. I'm right down the street from.
the
Ridgedale.
the bartender at the MOA one was a Purple Daily fan and was a huge wrestling
really?
fan when I was there last time. Yeah. He recognized
You just
me.
got-
we
you
we,
just
we
got
talked about.
hammered.
I think it was the night of Survivor Series, so we were talking Survivor Series predictions, and yeah,
Let's
Son,
go
you
buy
haven't
a
you haven't
suit.
lived. You have not lived until you have purchased a quarter zip from Nordstrom and
Yep.
then bellied up for some of those
Yep.
happy hour tacos.
and Nordstrom Rack too, which is a different store, but the Nordstrom Rack, you get all the discounts from the Nordstrom big sales. Love me a Nord. There's one right
right.
by me here in the Burbs. Love
Jed, if you ever
Nordstrom.
want to party, Dex and I got you covered.
Yep.
No, it sounds like it. Sounds like it. That's awesome. You guys are great. I think I'll probably.
I'm not staying
Stay
till
home.
4 a.m.
I
Declan
think I might
might,
No, I will
but-
stay till 4 a.m.
Dex,
You
I
have to
can't
kick
stay
me
till
out of
4
here.
a.m.
Drag me out of here.
I can't stay.
Oh.
I can't stay till 4.
Okay, tonight. Hopefully, Ventline doesn't go till 4.
Hold on a
but-
second. I got one more.
Or no.
Oh, you got one more.
I've been holding one since last week.
Just like me at Nordstrom.
You're exactly right. Exactly right. So last week, I decided it's finally time. Haircut time. Right? I hadn't got a haircut in like a month, or a month plus. Hair was ridiculous. So I go to my barber. He's a great guy. Place I go. I won't name him or the place because I want to bring up what transpired, and I want to know if rolling the dice here by me was the right play. So I walk in, and my guy's like, "Okay, Judd," and I can see he's not. His voice is really hoarse. He's like, "Okay, Judd, get in the chair." I'm like, "Okay, cool." He's sick, but he says to me, "I hope you don't mind. I really can't talk during your haircut." To which I'm
you
like,
love. Yeah.
"This is
which
ideal."
is, on one hand, great for you. But
This is
why,
ideal.
Why can't you talk? would
But then
be-
occasionally during the course of said haircut, he has to step away and like sneeze. Now he's sneezing away from me. It's not in, so it's not gross, but he's sneezing. He's clearly
the
still sick.
particles are still floating
Exactly, the
around.
particles.
Oh.
So my question is, I thought, you know what? I'm willing to take like I could say, you know what, dude, let's do this when you're not sick. But I thought the fact he can't talk means that I can leave this chair without having any discussion. So I rolled the dice. But is that the right roll of the dice? Because
Was he wearing a mask or no?
No.
So sometimes, like in those service jobs, like a haircut or different.
Yeah, mine.
If they're sick, they'll throw a mask on.
My guy's
just
more
so
of a neighborhood type of guy.
Barber?
So
Yeah.
it's not like a Great Clips or something. It's not.
His name isn't Bob Great Clips.
No, and he's not like, I'm sure then
Jim Cost Cutter.
Mask.
Yeah.
But I was thrilled by the fact he couldn't talk.
Well, I bet that part's a win for you because you don't want to ever talk. I mean, I got my teeth cleaned a week ago today, and my hygienist was like, spoke really softly, kind of like this.
But they
like
weren't
really,
sick.
really, really soft. And she's she's cleaning my teeth as she's explaining to me. I can't hear a damn word she's saying. And also,
It's
like,
awkward,
if I'm like, can we not have? I don't want to talk. I can't talk. We have to
hygienist
stop
talks
doing that at
constantly.
dentists. Dentists, stop that. Please stop talking to us.
In fact, you know what, hygienist, throw some headphones in, listen to a podcast
Sweet.
if you want to. I'll be here with my mouth open.
Yep.
And we
But
can
it's
talk
great
before and after
because
if you want.
But they can talk all they want, and you can't respond. So if you like to talk, hygienist is the greatest job in the whole wide world.
Sure.
But I
Yeah,
took
if I were you,
I took a chance.
It would be more about how would I leave this situation?
Right.
Would I have to pay for the haircut slot that I just took up? This is why I shave my head. I don't want to deal with these types of encounters.
My
but
guy's great too. Does a
he
great
did a great
job.
Looks like he did a great job.
So
we
I
do miss
can't-
the Pat Riley slick back a little bit. Not gonna lie, but
Can
looks
certainly
good.
come
Looks
back.
good.
But the point is, I decided it was a calculated risk, but it was worth it. And the fact that we didn't have to talk made my day.
Do you do the shave too, or just the haircut? Does
Just
he
the
give you?
haircut. I've
doesn't
done the
do
shave before. That's an extra $10 though.
It's a lot of trust too. I feel like.
lot of trust.
I
I trust him completely.
Seen enough movies.
Now the shave while he's sick probably would not have been a good call by me. Because then you're really
lean back into.
Because then
his
you're
mouth.
lean back and the germs are permeating the air.
Oh, that's
I can just feel the sneeze particles landing on my.
That's the problem now.
pickle. That's a
Ugh, that's a tough one. But there should be an option, whether it's dentist, haircuts, Uber rides.
Mhm.
There should just be a box you check. Do you
Yeah.
want human interaction? Yes or no? Do you want
can, I
music
believe-
playing lightly?
You can now do that, I think, on Uber. I think
Uber
I
you can,
prefer
yeah,
not to
don't-
talk. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can. You can.
I thought it was just music and okay.
Yeah, I think you can do that. 'Cause even when I did it, because I would just temperature out the room. If I would know within the hi, how are you? How's your day going? I would know within that interaction if this person wanted me to shut up or they wanted to talk.
Yeah, that's
But you
that
don't
was
want to
my-
talk.
That was my brain driving at 4 a.m. You know, that's what I was doing right there.
right. People need rides to the airport at 4 a.m.
They do.
So
They pay really
either
good.
either
but
still
I don't
up or
want
you get
anyone talking to me then.
No, yeah.
There's nothing worse than it's still dark outside. It's cold out. You're going to fly like to spring training.
going?
It's 4. And yeah, the guy, you put your stuff in the car and then it starts off with, well, where are you headed to?
Where are you
I've
off
been-
to today?
It's like, dude, let's just
great.
not talk because I don't want to talk right now.
And then the best is if there's no talking and there's no music and that's where it gets. Let's put some, I don't know, put some smooth jazz on or something. Anyways, those are your Monday statements and questions. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. We'll see you for a scoop session tomorrow and Vikings Vent Line Purple Daily YouTube channel tonight.